The final episode of Season 1. Oh, I can't believe it's over. Seriously, 25 or so minutes of Bad Batch per week is never enough, especially because the premiere went for over an hour. I feel like they teased us in that first episode, and then after that, it's just like shorter and shorter every week. It's like, give me more. I need more story, more plot, more characters, more everything. So Kamino has gone down, and honestly, I feel like that last episode could have been the season finale cliffhanger. You know, just end with Kamino's destruction and the whole squad drowning in the planet-sized ocean for another year until they release season 2. That's how I would have ended it. So here are 46 details, Easter eggs, and references you might have missed in episode 16, Kamino Lost. Hey everyone, it's Andrew. So right at the start of the show, we hear that classic Star Wars alarm. This emergency siren, also known as the Death Star alarm, was first heard in A New Hope aboard the Death Star. So Rampart is overlooking the Imperial bombardment on Kamino. And this shot of him standing looking out the window of the Star Destroyer is very similar to the ending of Revenge of the Sith, when Palpatine, Vader, and Tarkin oversee the destruction of the Death Star. What did I say? I meant construction? I guess I'm just so used to saying the destruction of the Death Star. What's also interesting is the fleet of 3 Venator Star Destroyers, which we also have here in the Bad Batch. Are these the same 3 Venators we see in Revenge of the Sith? Also, I noticed that the sounds of the Venators bombing Kamino sound really similar to the AAT tanks firing on the Gungan's shield in The Phantom Menace. So the city goes down, and the rest of the episode is basically just the crew trying to escape the remains of what once was the foundation of the clone army, the centerpiece of the prequels, all gone and destroyed. It's so sad, it's all the clones, the Kamino, and everyone, the pods. What about Jango Fett's home? Where will Boba sleep at night? I think it's really interesting seeing the clone engineers and pilots pushing all these buttons aboard the Star Destroyer, literally destroying the city they were born in. But they're being commanded by an Imperial. It seems as if the Empire have potentially moved away from clone leaders, got them to step down, especially after what happened to Captain Hauser, you know, with the whole insubordination and I'm going to throw down my blaster and not fight for the Empire thing. Empire see that as a big deal, and that's why they're moving to conscripted soldiers, and even clones aren't commanding these dudes to press all the buttons. Look how many buttons they're pressing! And we also get a sense of that here. Rampart asks this clone for a status report, and the clone is hesitant in saying,
all Kaminoan facilities have collapsed into the sea.
He seems to be emotionally moved by the event, as if it's hard to swallow. And seriously, I saw some of you guys saying you thought this clone was going to walk straight up to Rampart and kill him, just like vibro blade, stab, explosion. Not yet though. It's not time for the clones to turn on the Empire just yet. Although you'd think the destruction of their homeworld would, you know, warrant this. They're literally seeing their birthplace all blown up, and like, how strong is that? Order 66 conditioning, man. What's going on in their brains? Also interesting to note that this clone is wearing regular trooper armor. Doesn't have any, you know, upgraded decals, colors, nothing. Just plain white. Even though he's clearly in some kind of higher position. I mean, you know, Rampart wouldn't just ask a random clone for a status report. But like I said, does this mean the Empire have moved clones who were previously captains or commanders or, you know, clones in positions of authority out of those because they were becoming insubordinate, like Hauser, and they've been replaced by regs, just regular troopers. This clone also confirms that all Kaminoan facilities have collapsed into the sea, which I think is the writers really trying to put the final nail in the coffin for Kamino. There are no other cloning facilities, and if there are, they've already been taken care of. Kamino is done. I like how AZ is worried about being left down here on his own. He's like, oh, I was afraid you were going to leave me behind or I'd have to be here alone. What? Dude, take care of you. No, he does. He does a great job of taking care of everyone. So Crosshair's stuck underneath some wreckage with the water level rising. So Wrecker takes out his massive machete, take a look at this thing, and attempts to pry open the door. The way he's doing this really reminded me of Qui-Gon at the start of the Phantom Menace, driving his lightsaber into the blast doors, just trying to, you know, have a conversation with the Trade Federation. They're still breaking through. This is impossible. And here we really see how much Omega has evolved. She's always been brave, but this episode takes that to another level. With AZ, she breaks Crosshair free and then helps Wrecker and the Bad Batch open the door, and she's, basically drowning at this point. So they get the doors open, reunited, they're all together again, and Crosshair slides to a stop, and then he says,
What have you done?
which I thought could be a reference to Anakin after slicing off Mace Windu's hand. He says,
What have I done?
of course, Crosshair is never going to blame himself. Too arrogant, but, there could be a link here. Seriously, though, look how quickly Kamino is going underwater. There's no way they're surviving this. The city is like plummeting beneath the ocean. So the Bad Batch are running through this hallway, which I'm pretty sure is the exact same hallway where Obi-Wan walked on his tour of the facility and cloning operation in Attack of the Clones. Seems like the same place, right? And then Omega stops to watch all the cloning pods become submerged in the ocean. To think thousands, millions of clones that were born here. To think just some years ago, Obi-Wan walked these hallways, and now it's all going underwater. So the entire city eventually gets turned on its side, and for the first time in this episode, Omega saves AZ from death, and the city hits the ocean floor a long, long way down here. And then Crosshair and Omega have a moment. The rest of the team runs off, and they both just stand here and stare at each other for a moment. Okay, so first question, why is Hunter not keeping an extremely close eye on Omega? He's like a father to her. Why is he not making 100% sure she's okay? He's running off with the others. And secondly, what's with this moment? I think this is trying to set something up for season 2, Crosshair developing some kind of, soft spot for Omega, so we'll see more on that in a minute. Here we see some fish. They're new. Pretty sure we've never seen these fish before on Kamino. Never been this far underwater, have we? And then the Bad Batch take refuge in their old barracks, which Tech says is ironically
Is one of the few compartments habitable, albeit temporarily.
ironically. More like obvious plot reasons. Nice one, Tech. I can see what you're doing there, you writers. Good stuff. Wrecker then notes the hash marks by the door. Now, in the first episode, when we saw the Bad Batch enter their barracks for the first time, there were 55 hash marks etched into the wall. But Wrecker claims they've completed 11 more successful missions.
11 more successful missions.
And begins etching in the updated tally. 55 plus 11 is 66. Time has come. Execute order 60. However, I counted the marks on the wall in this final episode, and they're incorrect! They got it wrong! There are still only 55 hash marks here, even though we saw Wrecker clearly begin etching the latest 11 into the wall in the first episode, so they messed this up. Pretty sure anyway. Could be wrong. Now, while in the barracks, Echo also remarks that at least the smell is gone. I'm assuming that's because they haven't been here in such a long time and, haven't stunk up the place with their dirty laundry. Or the Empire have cleaned this place up. These are the same barracks used by Crosshair's squad once the Empire started running the show. So perhaps, when they moved in here, they got the broom out, got some scrubbing stuff, detergent, whatever you want, clean some surfaces, Where is the bathroom on their ship? Do they have a bathroom in here? They got to stop off at a planet to use a What are they doing? This stuff needs to be explained. I want to see Wrecker coming out of the bathroom. Boy, that was a big one. Okay, then Crosshair and Hunter have a bit of an argument over leadership. Crosshair's all like, all those missions together, and you threw it away. Soldiers follow orders. Notice how he dropped the good. Doesn't say good soldiers follow orders anymore. He knows he's not a good soldier. He's done some bad stuff. But as far as I can tell, this is what's driving him. He wishes to be part of the Empire because they provide order and structure for soldiers. The Empire will allow him to fulfill his purpose as a soldier, born and bred to be a soldier. The Empire gives him that purpose, whereas Hunter is all about protecting his squad. This is his main purpose in life at the moment. Even if the Bad Batch have been aimlessly wandering the galaxy from episode to episode, odd job to odd rescue mission, Hunter is still fulfilling his role doing this. And this is why he's been so hesitant to do half these jobs. Rescuing Gregor, to save Hera's parents, because these missions put his squad in unnecessary danger. And, obviously he doesn't want to do that. Anyway, Crosshair taunts Hunter, says they're all about to die because he's failed leadership. Hunter's about to beat the living daylights out of Crosshair, and then Omega comes to the rescue. Second time she saved Crosshair's ass this episode. I mean, the dude's wearing a bandana and face paint. Crosshair, mate, you don't want to mess with him. Omega's like, hey, look guys, we landed on an underwater tunnel, yippee! We're all gonna be fine, what are the chances? Nice one, writers. Another ironic moment, as Tech will put it. Ironic. He can save others from death, but not himself. And then Crosshair's all like, what, she's calling the shots now? Soon he will learn that Omega actually witnessed his birth, let that bend your mind for a moment. But yes, Omega's been in charge for weeks now, literally calling all the shots. Then Wrecker decides to have a go at Crosshair. Now, let me just say that when Wrecker's disappointed in you, you know you've done something wrong. Wrecker misses his brother. But then in comes Tech to explain everything again. Crosshair's always been severe and unyielding. It's his nature. You cannot change that, and he cannot change that. So this is just the way Crosshair is. And I think this is just here to help explain his character and motivations. They're trying to round him out a bit, make us understand why he wants to be part of the Empire. Also, Tech claims he's not defending Crosshair. He simply just understands him, but that doesn't mean he agrees with him. Now, I'm not sure why they spend so long in this tunnel. Omega literally says, this doesn't look safe, and then instead of hurrying their way through, they just stand here and look at the cracks. Look at it cracking all around them. Need to wait for a giant sea monster to chase them before they start hauling ass. Also, this giant sea creature looks similar to the ones on Naboo in The Phantom Menace, although it's not the same as far as I can tell. But seriously, do all these Star Wars oceans have ridiculously oversized creatures like this? Get zapped in the teeth. So the Bad Batch arrive at Nala Se's private research lab. For Hunter and Crosshair, this is the first time they've seen this place. And once again, Tech, of course, explains what happened here. This is where the Bad Batch's genetic mutations were manipulated and enhanced, and then they're told that Omega was there while this was all happening. That technically, see what he did there? Good on you, Tech. She's older than everyone, which is part of why she's become the one in charge. They're all her younger brothers. Anyway, the tunnel to get back to the ship is blocked. Writers. What are they going to do now, huh? And also, AZ's battery is depleting, which will be important real soon. And then Echo informs the others that their long-range comms are down, and their oxygen levels will soon be critical. And this is like one of the only two things Echo says this entire episode. Wait, hold up a second. Do you mean to tell me that this clone, who was part of Domino Squad in Season 1 of the Clone Wars, who defended Rishi Station, and then his homeworld of Kamino during the actual Battle of Kamino, who's in the same squad as Fives, who personally knew Clone 99, who was taken prisoner by the Separatists, presumed dead, turned into a cyborg, and then eventually rescued by the Bad Batch, you're telling me in a story arc where you destroy Kamino, this guy's homeworld, that this is the only line he says? Where's his reaction? Where's the emotion? This guy's got more of a connection to this place than anyone, and you're going to completely skip over showing at least something he felt. Just give one tear, an expression on his face. Give us something. This is the city he was born in. He defended it, and it's about to be submerged at the hand of a tyrannical empire. And he's talking about oxygen levels. Guys, wake up. Justice for Echo.
This is what happens when you let a kid call the shots.
Then Crosshair calls Omega a kid, even after learning she's older and clearly smarter than anyone. So Hunter tells Crosshair the Empire left him for dead, and Crosshair says,
You take things too personally.
So he's not upset about the Empire firing on the facility, even though he was still inside. They destroyed an entire city and they did what needed to be done, and that's why he finds the Empire so appealing. They have structure and order and reasons for doing things. He says that Kamino, the Regs, the Republic, all of that is over. That time is over, and the Empire will control the entire galaxy, and I am going to be a part of it. He believes in order, as I mentioned earlier, and he believes Hunter made the wrong choice. But Hunter counters that with, all you'll ever be to them is a number. Which I guess he already is, but that's kind of, the whole contrast and the whole reason the clones are given nicknames is because they have more personality, and the Republic valued their life, as did the Jedi, whereas the Empire will just see him as a number. And here I think Crosshair hasn't realized the Empire sees him as expendable, or he does realize and thinks they'll see that he's worth the trouble of keeping around. Regardless, he believes in the structure and the discipline of the Empire. He knows that in the Empire, he'll be able to fulfill his role and the reason for his creation as a soldier. Then something interesting happens. Crosshair sits down on the windowsill and holds his head. We also saw him briefly do this last episode. Is he just thinking? Is he thinking about his inhibitor chip? Or is there something more going on here? It seems like more will be revealed concerning his chip when he got it removed, if he got it removed. But yeah, not just holding his head for the sake of it. Then we get a little more of Omega trying to bond with Crosshair. She's trying to show that she understands him, trying to see the humanity within him. Which, like I said, I think will lead to more in Season 2. Perhaps Crosshair will be hunting the Bad Batch, but will be morally torn because of his connection to Omega. Or he just thinks she's a pesky kid and tells her to go away.
I understand.
We also get some more character development for Omega. We learn she spent most of her life specifically in this lab until the Bad Batch were created, and that's why she was so determined to find them at the start of the season. But Crosshair tells her that
Being a clone doesn't make you one of them.
which in his own cold, hardened way, I think is him trying to be sweet. He cares about Omega, he wants her to be safe, and in the last episode, he ordered Omega to be taken in a shuttle off-world,
You want to protect the kid, then let her go.
to have nothing to do with the rest of the Bad Batch anymore. He doesn't agree with Hunter and the gang dragging her around on all these missions. She's not a soldier. In his eyes, she's just a kid and she shouldn't be put in any danger. And then Omega says this.
I wanted to believe it was the inhibitor chip that made you like this, but I was wrong.
Which I think could be a reference to Obi-Wan's line from Return of the Jedi when he's talking to Luke.
I thought that I could instruct him just as well as Yoda. I was wrong.
This is like the most cryptic scene. Obi-Wan's messing with Luke. He talks in riddles the whole time. He's just saying random crap to confuse Luke from a certain point of view. So how hilarious is this? The Bad Batch are going to use the test tube pods they were born in to escape this place for the final time. Come full circle. They could die in the tubes they were born in, for all we know. So they put a bunch of these pyrodentin charges on the window, ready to blow this open and ascend to the ocean's surface. These explosives are the same ones used throughout the series, and so Omega blows the charges. I like how they gave her the button to press. I'm telling you guys, she's running this operation. And AZ directs the pods to the surface. Omega gets stuck, and it's up to AZ to save her, which he does, but wait. Remember, his battery was depleted, and so AZ fades into the abyss below. Tragedy. But Omega won't be able to live with herself if she lets him go. So against all logic, she opens her pod and risks her life to save a droid. Because #droid lives matter. She gets it. But all right, I'll be honest. I kind of wanted to see AZ die. You know, give this a bit more purpose. Sure, the city has been destroyed and they've all come close to death so many times, but there's not enough tension. There's no consequences, you know? This felt a little Rise of Skywalker Chewie to me. Yep, he's dead. We killed him. No, wait. No, actually, 30 minutes later, we lied. He's still alive. We fooled you, bastards. That said, I'm glad we'll get to see more of AZ in Season 2. And so Crosshair aims his rifle directly at Hunter. Looks like he's going to take this opportunity to blow his brother's head off, but instead saves Omega. You see how much he's looking out for her? You see his soft spot? Also, I know Wrecker and the others are aiming their blasters at Crosshair once Omega is saved, but why did they not shoot him when he was pointing this at Hunter? He was doing it for long enough. I'm sure they would have seen. Why did they not do something about the plot? Plot reasons. And then for the first time, like literally ever, I was so excited about this. It's sunny on Kamino. What? Like actually sunny, like not just not raining, you know, like we saw in the Clone Wars, there was that episode where it was kind of overcast during the Battle of Kamino. No, this is sunshine, my friends. Nice way to leave this place. One last time. I like the good touch. Then finally, we see some emotion from Echo. Okay, wait for it. There. You see, he looks like he's about to cry, but seriously, that's all we get. Can we get just like Echo's perspective of, I'll take anything. I just want Echo's perspective of this whole event, what's going through his head. And then Omega says,
It's all gone.
just like the clone on the Venator, they're really trying to reinforce that this is the end for Kamino. No more cloning here, no more facilities, nothing. We probably won't ever be coming back here. And Crosshair decides to stay behind. Dude, how are you going to get out of here? Even if the Empire scouts do show up, you're on a tiny, distant platform nowhere near the city. What are you going to do? All right, so let's quickly talk about that final scene, which I made a specific video about yesterday. You can watch that, but a few more details to mention here as well. A lot of people saying this is Mount Tantiss from Star Wars Legends, a facility used by the Emperor for storing artifacts, advanced technology, and even housing a cloning operation. Now, all of this is connected to Thrawn, who we know we'll probably be seeing in the Ahsoka show, The Mandalorian, and wherever all these shows are leading. The actor for Thrawn was just cast a few weeks ago, so it seems like all these shows are connecting, and they're setting up for a massive multi-narrative event. event. But also, this could just be some place with a mountain. You know, it could also be Darrow, where the Bad Batch saved Gregor, but it looks different in some ways. So there's the Mount Tantiss theory. Now, Nala Se is being escorted into this facility to unwillingly begin work as a scientist for the Empire. So the Empire obviously have a real interest in cloning, even if it's not to clone another army. More likely it will be super soldiers, mutations, or a force-sensitive character or creature or something. All of this is kind of leaning towards the Palpatine contingency plan that we saw in Rise of Skywalker, creating Palpatine's clones and Snoke and whatever they're doing with Grogu and the Mandalorian. But if you want to discuss all that, that's all in yesterday's video, so you can watch that. Now, these clone commandos also have a slightly different armor to what we've seen previously. The grey pauldrons and stripes are new. So I think it's possible these indicate rank, but also might be a hint at Imperial commandos, and they're moving away from, you know, the Republic clone commando titles, which these boys are at this point. I guess they're not really Imperial, they're not really Republic commandos anymore. They are Imperial commandos. And this scientist who greets Nala Se with her big goggle. What? Oh man, who decided on this? Anyway, on her sleeve is what's known as the Kaminoan emblem. Dr. Pershing also had this on his sleeve in The Mandalorian, and the Yep kids on Kamino in Attack of the Clones also had it, as well as the older clones in the red uniform. So I'm not really sure why the Empire are keeping an old Kaminoan symbol, unless it's not actually Kaminoan. It could be like a guild thing, like Cloning Guild or something like that, Scientists Guild, who knows, but there it is. And that's a wrap for season 1. Man, 16 of these episodes. But I'm also thinking of doing a review of the entire season to talk more about it as a whole and what it did well, maybe what could be improved, what it got wrong. So let me know if you'd like to see that, and if there are any specific details or Easter eggs I missed in this episode. And for more Bad Batch, you can watch one of these videos here, and also come follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and join my Discord for all the latest Star Wars news, Star Wars gaming news, updates, everything else you want and need. And thanks for watching this. My name's Andrew. I'll catch you soon.
Stay bombastic.